My name is Jamel Saladin. Let's go.
Testing. All right. How's that audio out there? We good? We're gonna have a great show. Whether you're watching this on a replay. Hold on. Let me get comfortable. Mind if I get comfortable? We're gonna have a great show. A great show. Printing money out of nothing. Alright, Splash said we good. I want to get to this, man. Printing money out of nothing. My name is Jamel Saladin. This is the Poker Face Society. We are going deep into the rabbit hole today, this afternoon. So, there's your disclaimer. It's a red pill show. You're not in the mood for red pillness. There is someone talking greasy about someone somewhere. And might want to hear what that conversation is about. You know what I'm saying? There's people cursing each other out on the internet somewhere. You might want to hear what that conversation is about. But if you decide to stay, I can almost guarantee you're going to leave with something that you can use. That would be more valuable than slander. I got Cassius in the house, and you know what? I said today, if Cash shows up, I usually wait. I usually make people wait. Way longer. Before I give out a wrench. But Cash, he's into these conversations. So this is for him. It's bigger than just yo Saladin, and it's like yo, he's into these conversations. And I switch up the conversations from time to time. Right now I'm stuck on this because this is what I'm enjoying, right? I've talked about hip hop, I've talked about a bunch of stuff. But right now I'm enjoying this conversation. Because this does have to do with you, me, your kids, everybody. People love to put their head in the sand like an ostrich and just think that everything's going to be okay. And I'm here to tell you, nothing is just going to be okay because you decided I'm not going to look at it. That's not how it works. And I get it. Who am I to be an expert on these conversations, right? You have your appointed people that you've been listening to all these years. Maybe I offend people when I tell you those people have been lying to you. You think I want to offend you? Tell you your pastor, your imam, your rabbi been lying to you? Think that's my goal in life? It's upsetting to me. But if I'm gonna keep it 1,000, I didn't come to make friends. I'm on a mission. And this mission did not start yesterday, right? I felt this sense of purpose from a little youth. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Now, like I said today, we're going to have a great conversation. This is the seal, the great seal on the back of the dollar. Let me see something. It says the phrase Novus Ordo Selectorum is one of the two Latin mottos on the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. The other motto is Anut Coeptis. The mottos were coined by Charles Thomson, the Secretary of Congress of the Federation. I'm assuming it's Latin, right? Thomas derived the phrase Novus Ordo Selectorum from the poem by the Roman poet Virgil. He wrote that the phrase signified the beginning of a new American era as of the date of the Declaration of Independence. Well, some people say it's supposed to mean the New World Order or something like that. Let me see what this. I want to know what this particular meaning means right there. He favors our undertakings. Allegedly, that's what the Anut Coeptis means, right? And I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. I don't even care about that. What I do care about, however, though, walk with me. When you look at it, why? Okay, if they designed this, right? Why such detail on the skin? Why does it look like reptilian skin, or am I bugging? Give me 1 second here. Or am I bugging? This looks like reptilian skin. If not, that's a lot of detail on the skin. B-Dolo's in the house. I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. But we're going deep down the rabbit hole tonight. I got a lot of audio for you guys. A lot of this audio I made up myself, so you're not gonna get it anywhere else. You're not gonna. I just made it today. So that's why I'm saying you're not gonna get the audio anywhere else, because I just made the audio today for you guys. All right. Listen, we got people on the replay. They want to get to this. So the link to my book is in the video description. You can go check out my book. Matter of fact, Unleashing the Power Within. It's about 3 teens from Brooklyn, New York, who discover metaphysics and they apply it to their life, and they actually start to see the changes, right? As they're going through different obstacles in life, they start to apply metaphysics in their life and they see the changes, right? And one of the things that really inspired me to write this particular book was I felt like if these secrets, and I call them secrets because I think they should be given way earlier in life, right? Why wait till a person is older to see if they are ready for the jewels? Give the jewels while they're young, right? But everything is a secret, even the jewels, even the metaphysics. It's like, nah, make normalize. Why would you normalize LGBTQ behavior, but then you don't normalize metaphysics and universal law? That's crazy. Everything is upside down, right? Like Stranger Things, the upside down. Everything is strange right now, man. The things we should not be doing, we do. And the things that we should be doing, we don't do. So, I want to kind of bring some light to this conversation about money. Tonight, we're going to talk about it all. But, since we're on the conversation, right, of this eye looking like a reptile, the eye of a reptile, I would like to start there again. I think it's necessary, right? Before we get into the other stuff. The other night, a couple of nights ago, I gave up some information about the prehistoric reptilian species that I believe came to this earth first, right? And I gave a backstory. I would like you to hear some of that audio about that backstory. I told you about the Keb, and I told you about the neck species of reptilians, right? Let's listen a little bit to some of that before we get into the other audio that I got for you guys. But either way, as always, keep an open mind. Take what you will, leave what you will, leave it all, take it all. It doesn't matter. It's information to me. I will be drawing the dots on a lot of things. I don't think I'm too far-fetched when I draw these dots. You understand what I'm saying? Let's see. Let's get into this audio.
The early Keb humanoids were tall and rather slender, but their slim build was deceptively powerful. They were very limber and fast. capable of running on narrow trails and passing through thin passages. And they could fly up and down, side to side, and so fast that they seemed to blur. They also had long, sharp claws on the hands that they were developing. They could cut and rip with savage quickness, and they had large square jaws with sharp-ridged teeth that could cut a limb off with one snapping bite. They had powerful legs that let them run quickly and leap through the air with extraordinary speed and agility. Their emotionless black eyes could intimidate the hardiest enemy warrior. And remember, Matu, they could fly. The drone Keb were among the most vicious creatures of the green world.
All right, we're listening to audio about Robert Morning Sky. This is I told you about Robert Morning Sky. He was a Native American that I invited on the show because he was given esoteric knowledge from his grandfather about extraterrestrials that had crashed on his land that his grandfather grew up on. And a few of the Native Americans, 6 to be exact, went out to help this extraterrestrial at the time. They nursed him back to health. The extraterrestrial, according to Robert Morning Sky, ended up staying, but he would come back and visit. One of those 6 gentlemen told this story to Robert Morning Sky's grandfather, and Robert Morning Sky he wrote a book. I did invite him on the show. He didn't like the first video that he's seen on my portfolio, and he decided not to come on the show, and that's okay. So as he's talking to one of his pupils, right? So I just want to give you a backstory. So right now he was talking about the Keb, and the second he will be talking about the neck. Let's keep listening.
They were efficient and deadly hunters, and they were cold-blooded killers. Of all the species that would evolve on the green world, it was the reptilian bee humanoids, the Keb, who would rise to become the most dominant life form of the world. As the millions of years of their evolution continued to go by, the Keb people lost most of the very distinct reptilian and insect features of their ancestors. But not all their physical traits disappeared entirely. Though their height began to vary slightly, the Keb people generally remained tall and quite slender. And, as is the case with all beings born of reptilian ancestors, they possessed little or no hair on their bodies, and they had very little hair on their heads. The torsos retained the hourglass shape of their long-ago dragonfly bee ancestors. Males had broad chests with narrow waists, large and powerful buttocks with strong thighs and tapering calves. Reptilian females had the same shape, but with a more delicate and feminine curve to their bodies. Their faces were still triangular, tapering to a pronounced yet soft point. They had large dark eyes, larger than most humanoids, but they possessed an almost hypnotizing beauty. Their mouths were also larger than most beings, but with smaller lips. When closed, the mouth of the reptilian people seemed almost to disappear. And though they had lost the extremely large fangs of their ancestors, their eye teeth were still long and sharp, and quite functional. The long proboscis used to drain the blood of their victims was also gone. It had given way to an angular nose, sharp and narrow, and it too was strangely appealing. It may surprise you, Matu, but the reptilian people were a physically beautiful people. Their limbs were graceful, their bodies were alluring and shapely, and with their large dark eyes and fluid walk, the reptilian females were known to be some of the most beautiful women in the galaxy. The reptilian people were handsome and fearsome, beautiful and deadly, and they could fly. In ceremony, when dressed in their flowing robes, in the best finery their world had to offer. The male and female reptilians could hover lightly, as if on angelic wings. But they were the hand of death itself, hidden in shining gossamer.
My name is Jamel Saladin. This is the Poker Face Society. I see Wax Dog is in the house. Spection is in the house. Beaver Valley Updates is here. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. Right now, we're listening to a narrator talk about Robert Morningsky talking to his pupil, telling his pupil about what his grandfather told him, right? So his grandfather was told some information by someone that they helped from another planet, galaxy, whatever. His name was Bekti. He was an extraterrestrial. He crashed here. This is before Roswell. And 6 Hopi Native Americans helped him out. One of these Hopi Native Americans went and told Robert Morningsky's grandfather. In tradition, he passed it down. He told Robert Morningsky. Right? So we're hearing this secondhand, but if I'm going to be very honest with you, Robert Morningsky is not the only individual running around talking about reptilian species. By far. So, let's keep going.
There were many wars between the various reptilian warrior species in the green world, but the Keb rose to ultimate power. The ability to fly made the major difference in their victories. Morning Sky says, without fail, the success or failure of the reptilian armies always hinged on the extraordinary ability of the drone warriors to maneuver in flight. Males and females alike could fly on wings that seemed far too delicate to carry their lanky bodies. They were exceptionally quick on the ground, but in the air, the reptilians had no peer. From a distance, the approaching armies of flying warriors looked like a huge black cloud of giant dragonflies, a faint, angry buzzing betraying their intent. But even though the enemy might visually detect them while still some distance away, in the blink of an eye, the reptilian winged warriors covered the ground that separated them from their enemies. In less than a heartbeat, the viciousness of the reptilian warrior descended on its enemy, like the wrath of a cruel and bloodthirsty god. The ascendancy of the Neck. One particular group of the Keb, called the Neck, were the most powerful. They eventually rose to the top of the heap. According to Morning Sky, the balance of power swung back and forth between many aspiring realms. Empires and kingdoms rose and fell. But in time, one race of reptilian people surfaced as the dominant people of the planet. They were known as the Neck, or the fearsome Black Ones.
That's crazy. A mighty, powerful black race of reptilians. Jimmy P. 45, I see you, bro. A mighty race of black reptilians. That apparently the Homo sapiens sapiens shares his DNA with? It's a lot to consider.
Through the victories of the Black Warriors and the political manipulations of the Black Kings, the world of the reptiles was eventually united under one king and one kingdom. As the conquests by the Neck piled up, the need for efficient administrative control of their empire became a paramount consideration. This has always been a thorny problem for conquering armies. It caused major problems for the Roman and British colonial rulers. Always, it eventually becomes clear that slavery is not a lasting solution. It is best to have the conquered civilizations govern themselves.
See? Watch this. Watch this. Snapping turtles here. Snapping turtles here. Watch this. Check what he's saying right now. Because somebody taught the Sumerians government, legal, taxation, agriculture, plumbing, economics. Somebody taught the Sumerians all of this. So it may be hard for us to really cognitively accept any race of reptilian people if the news didn't say it, right? Once the news say it and the government say it, then we might accept it. Until then, a lot of us is gonna be like, man, I ain't for none of that hogwash. And I get it. I totally understand. You was taught that you was made by your Lord and Savior and that your woman was made from your rib, and I can't judge you on that. That's what you was taught, and that's what was indoctrinated in you. It didn't matter that everything didn't add up. You gonna ride it out. I get it. But what if I want y'all to keep listening to this story, right? Because take 50% of that on the I don't believe it side, but take 50% of it and put it on but what if side. Now on the what if side, just because they might have been a reptilian, it don't mean that they were stupid or primitive. Obviously, if they knew how to hollow out asteroids and fly here, I highly doubt they were primitive. Check It Out TV is not, he's here, but he's not too late. You understand? He's here, but he's not too late. He's only 28 minutes late. So that's okay for Check It Out TVs. Shout it out. Let's go.
And paid tribute to the rulers. The medium of exchange, or money, becomes the vehicle for total control. Morning Sky tells us, life advanced quickly under the hand of the reptilian neck kings. Science and technology, originally developed to assist in the wars of conquest by the kings, leapt forward by leaps and bounds. While weaponry and the science of conquest continued to have the highest priority in research and development, the inventions and tools that resulted from the new technologies were often adapted for everyday use by the average Keb human. In time, the Keb kings abandoned their destructive wars of conquest and focused their attention on new wars for power. These wars were not fought on the battlefield. They were fought in the marketplaces of the green world. Begun as a cooperative effort to achieve a profitable united front throughout the globe, the Keb monarchs began to work together, not for the sake of peace, but for the sake of monetary gain.
So, if we are to take any validity away from what we're listening to right now, business wars and capitalism existed way before the human being. So maybe this whole Illuminati that we keep talking about, they're just puppets. And the puppet masters maybe Y'all tell me by the end of the show, because we got a lot to listen to tonight, promise. We ain't even get started. Y'all know I don't even get started until like an hour in. So if you're thinking right now, like, yo, this is deep, we ain't even get started, beloved. I ain't even start the show yet. What you talking about? Savannah, you already know what time it is. Appreciate you. We building something over here. And sometimes things take time to build. Not sometimes. You understand? This world will make you think that everything is instantaneous. I don't know what y'all about to manifest, right? But I know y'all great. Why? Because y'all came over here to vibe with me. Y'all could be listening. Y'all could be somewhere else right now listening to gossip. I know for a fact there's like 3 channels going on right now. Ain't talking nothing but gossip. And guess what? That's cool. That is great. But you over here, you building. So I already kind of got a familiarity with your vibe. I know y'all about something. Y'all want to know. Y'all want to get to the root of it so that y'all know how to move out here. Y'all want understanding so you have wisdom. I get it. You want the knowledge, you want the wisdom, you want the understanding. I get it. Let's go, Wax Dog. Let's go, man. Now, they talking about the neck, the Keb and the neck. And how they changed from fighting with one another to competing with each other on a capitalistic level. Let's go.
Wars of destruction would no longer be tolerated in the major kingdoms of the New World. Peace and order would reign. Prosperity and happiness would belong to everyone. Business became the new battlefield. The New World Wars, officially known as the Neck World Wars, were fought in the business centers of the Green World. Assassinations and murders still took place, but they were no longer a result of heated passions and sheer hatred. It wasn't personal. It was business. In the New World, one family of Keb beings surfaced to control the wealth and power bases of the entire globe. They were the first descendants of the early Neck kings and were known as the Neck Keb. Under their manipulations, peace was achieved, and a new era was realized. All of the kingdoms of the Green World fell under the flag of the Association of Keb States, another way of saying the Association of Reptilian States. The strength of the New World could be expressed in a simple phrase, and a prophet shall lead them.
Now, when he said that, in the book it's spelled Profit, not like the Prophet Saladin. Not like the Prophet Saladin on my Cash App. But Profit, like the dollar bill behind me. And a prophet shall lead them. So this mentality was here way before we were even thought about.
This concept of rulership by money is characteristic of all the planets governed by reptilian overlords, and as will be seen, is particularly apropos in their influence on Earth, where they operate through their puppets, the Illuminati bankers. The Kings of Heaven. With all the states of the Green World incorporated into the association, and firmly under the control of the Neck, the kings looked for new worlds to conquer. They were never satisfied with peace and tranquility, and it was always in their nature to fight and dominate. They were never really comfortable with a stable agrarian-based society. Morning Sky says, with the institutions of the New World era in place, the Neck empires began to look to the skies above. They began, as human beings of Earth have, to explore their moons. They carefully developed their technologies, landed on the surface of their moons, and began to establish footholds. Generations later, Their moons were colonized and exploited, mined for their resources, and became fully equipped stepping stones to the planets and worlds beyond.
Let's stop right there. Salute Mikey B is in the house. Shout it out. Queen's legend and all that. Shout out We Locked In. My name is Jamel Saladin. We about to get into some stuff tonight. Now, I played that so that we would have just a backdrop, if you will, on the information we're about to hear, right? Because that was prehistoric, and right now, who knows if that was even true, right? I'm not married to the knowledge. I'm not. Or should I say, I'm not married to the information. It is information. It's data. Whether I want to accept it as accuracy is one thing. But as you guys know, I've put it through the gauntlet to see if it stands up. And I tell you something, right now it's standing up better than what they was feeding me before. Right? Even when I take the Elohim, the word Elohim, which in the Hebrew language is plural for God, so it's more than one God. And then I read the text, and it says, the Elohim, the gods said, let us make man in our own image. And I go through all these texts. Once I add this new information, things start to feel a little bit more sane. Like I'm not going crazy. Like it's just not me thinking something is missing. Something's off, right? Yes, something's off because they're leaving something out. They're not telling information. And even today, when you try to, they don't make it valid, right? So everything is, it's not taken as valid information unless they're groups, their organizations, unless they agree this is valid science, right? We see that everywhere. All of us know that our great grandparents had remedies that had nothing to do with synthetic drugs. All of us, we know that, right? Some of our grandparents, they went through like the whole T. They took notes and had small books because they knew they was going to pass away one day, and then the next generation would have to take these things over. And you didn't have to go to the corner store if you knew that you just needed some honey and you needed to rub this flour on the cut first. And they had all of this. And guess what? An association came along and they deemed all of that work that was known to be true as invalid. It is not acceptable. It is not. It's useless, they're saying. Now, should we agree with this? Gary Minor, what's good, bro? I see you out here. Day Kim Allah's in the house with the good vibes. You guys are not crazy. Don't let this world make you think that you are losing your mind and you're just off a little bit. And guess what? If that's the case, then you wear your offness with pride. Because there's something called group thinking. And I guarantee you, they would love for you to be a mindless robot. They would love for you to be a mindless robot. All right, let's set up Now that we did that, I'm excited about the new information that I'm going to set up for you. I just created this audio for you guys today, so nobody has this audio I'm giving you anyway. Alright? Now, it's 14 audio files I created for you. Printed money out of nothing. It's 14 audio files I created for you. So, now that we just listened to that, if you didn't hear that and you're just coming in, you're going to have to catch it on the replay. But they will be talking about some of the reptilians and this information. And the reason I listened to what we just listened to was to give you some type of precedent. All right, let's go, man. Because I know you guys are excited to hear this.
Today, the initiates and frontmen for the Babylonian...
Oh. Well, I can't play the music in the back, which would have been dope, but I can't play both of them. I gotta choose. And obviously I choose the audio. So, let me turn the audio up on this way up. Start this over again. And let's go.
Today, the initiates and frontmen for the Babylonian Brotherhood control world politics, banking, business, intelligence agencies, police, the military, education, and the media. The most important of these, in terms of control, is banking, the creation and manipulation of money. The Brotherhood financial sting is very simple and spans the period we are documenting from the time of Sumer and Babylon to the present day. It is based on creating money that doesn't exist and lending it to people and businesses in return for interest. This creates enormous debt for governments, businesses, and the general population.
Now, in case you think he's capping right now, I think the legal term for this is called fractional banking. Fractional banking. Look that up. Because I don't think he mentions what it's called. But he's not capping. Check out fractional banking. And I'll check it out. I'll even look it up after this. Let's continue listening.
And you therefore control them. Vital to this has been to allow bankers to lend money they do not have. It works like this. If you or me have £1 million, we can lend £1 million. Very simple. But if a bank has £1 million, it can lend 10 times that and more, and charge interest on it. If even a fraction of the people who theoretically have money deposited in the banks went today to remove it, the banks would slam the doors in half an hour because they do not have it. Money in the bank is a myth, another confidence trick. When you go into a bank and ask for a loan, the bank does not print a single new note nor mint a single new coin. It merely types the amount of the loan into your account. From that moment, you are paying interest to the bank on what is no more than figures typed on a screen. However, if you fail to pay back that non-existent loan, the bank can come along and quite legally take your wealth that does exist, your home, land, car, and possessions, to the estimated value of whatever figure was typed onto that screen. More than that, because money is not brought into circulation by governments, but by private banks making loans to customers, the banks control how much money is in circulation. The more loans they choose to make, the more money is in circulation. What is the difference between an economic boom, prosperity, and an economic depression, poverty? One thing only, the amount of money in circulation. That's all. And, through this system, the private banks, controlled by the same people, decide how much money will be in circulation. They can create booms and busts at will. The same with the stock markets, where these guys are moving trillions of dollars a day around the financial and banking markets, so deciding if they go up or down, soar or crash. Stock market crashes don't just happen, they are made to happen.
My name is Jamel Saladin. You are now listening to printing money out of nothing. A Khazarian Rothschild story. Here on the Poker Face Society. God the Brand, what's good with you, my brother? Oh yeah, Gary, we just getting started, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. We just getting started. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Do me a favor, everybody. Hit the like button, which I'm pretty sure y'all did already. And if you have a Facebook, do me a favor, share. I'm not gonna embarrass you too much. I'm not gonna do any cursing, no profanity, none of that. Right? Just, I would like everyone to share to their Facebook. I like Facebook because, you know, people have a lot of followers on Facebook. And I think you could reach way more people, right? So if you do decide to do me that solid, because that is also part of supporting the machine, right? Some people give cash apps, some people give super chats, and then some people, they share and say, yo, go subscribe to Jamel Saladin. He's over there, he's talking about something. You're going to like this guy. And I appreciate all that. All right, let's get into the next one. Let's get into the next clip and all that. That's crazy. Why is it out of order like that?
Most of the money in circulation is not physical money, cash and coins. It is represented as figures passing from one computer account to another electronically via money transfers, credit cards, and checkbooks. The more money, electronic or otherwise, that is in circulation, the more economic activity can take place, and therefore the more products are bought and sold, the more income people have, and the more jobs are available. But a constant theme of the reptile-Aryan financial coup has been to create a boom by making lots of loans and then pull the plug. Overpaid economists and economic correspondents, most of whom have no idea what is going on, will tell you that boom and bust is part of some natural economic cycle. What claptrap? It is systematic manipulation by the Brotherhood to steal the real wealth of the world.
Let me just tell you something right now. Now that y'all hearing this, if you feel like, yo, I'm older, but tell it to your kids. I don't care if they're not interested, right? Because kids are not supposed to be interested in things this serious. But the fact that you know they're going to need to know this one day, the world is designed to make it seem like everything is fine, and then all of a sudden the boom will come. So you don't have to explain it to them like that. You can just let them know one day trouble will come, and you want to stack or save a nice nestled nest egg. And that is a way that you can help break that generational curse, right? There's a few things we could do. Obviously, we are closer to the grave than we are from that hospital when we first came out into the world. But if you can't make it right one way, right? You like, yo, Saladin, I've been working this job. I ain't got much saved. Ain't much I could do. I hear you. And listen. You want to feel good? You ain't got to leave them $1 million. But you could leave them wisdom so that when that boom come that he's talking about, it ain't all taken away. Let's go.
During a boom, many people get themselves into even more debt. The vibrant economic activity means that businesses borrow more for new technology to increase production to meet demand. People borrow more to buy a bigger house and a new, more expensive car because they are so confident about their economic future. Then, at the most opportune moment, the major bankers, coordinated by the secret society networks, raise interest rates to suppress the demand for loans and they begin to call in loans already outstanding. They ensure they make far fewer loans than before. This has the effect of taking units of exchange, money in its various forms, out of circulation. This suppresses demand for products and leads to fewer jobs because there is not enough money in circulation to generate the necessary economic activity. So people and businesses can no longer earn enough to repay their loans and they go bankrupt.
That's right.
The banks then take over their real wealth, their business, home, land, car, and possessions in return for non-repayment of a loan that was never more than figures typed on a screen. This has been going on in cycles over thousands of years, especially the last few centuries, and the real wealth of the world has been sucked out of the population and into the hands of those who control the banking system, the reptilian bloodlines. The same applies to countries. Instead of creating their own interest-free money, governments borrow it from the private banking cartel and pay back both the interest and the capital by taxation of the people.
Now, I'm not going to get on the internet and tell all my business. But I can tell you this. You guys know I started a couple of companies. And everything he is saying is right up my alley. You understand? So I can tell you this part is true. And I'm going to be okay. But this won't never happen again. Why? Because I'm like, okay, I only need to get burnt once. But everything he was saying, lesser loans, lesser jobs, it's like if there's a domino effect. And you see it out here. You see it out here. So that's what I meant by let your youth know. Let your grandnieces and nephews and your grandchildren and your children know how to move different. Because one day you're not going to be here. And at the least, if you could just sleep in peace. Because we all got to get up off of there. Tell you that. I don't know where you're going, but you got to come up off of this earth. But you're going to be okay knowing that you gave them great instructions and you left great instructions for them.
Fantastic amounts of the money you pay in taxes go straight to the private banks to pay back loans, which the governments could create themselves interest-free. Why don't they do it? Because the Brotherhood controls the governments as much as they control the banks. What we call privatization is the selling off of state assets to stave off bankruptcy caused by the bank-created debt. Third world countries are handing over control of their land and resources to the international bankers because they cannot pay back the vast loans made, on purpose, by the banks to ensnare them in this very situation. The world does not have to be in poverty and conflict. It is manipulated to be that way because it serves the agenda. The Knights Templar used the system I've just described when they created the foundations of the modern banking network back in the 12th and 13th centuries, and this clearly connected with the Venetian network of the black nobility operating at the same time. The world financial manipulation is today coordinated by central banks in each country, which appear to be working independently, but are in fact working together to a common end. The Bank of England, chartered by the black nobility's William of Orange, has been the spider at the center of this web, and so too, since the 1930s, has the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland. Like the Bank of England, the central banks were chartered by the descendants of the reptilian banking families of Genoa and Venice. The Rothschilds. One bloodline which came from the reptile-Aryans within the Khazar Empire in the Caucasus Mountains is the Rothschilds. Their leading members are reptile full-bloods, reptilians knowingly occupying a human physical form. Insiders say that the Rothschilds secretly claim that their bloodline goes back to Nimrod in Babylon. I have no doubt that they will connect to the Ramses-Pisa-Bush bloodline. No overview of the financial manipulation is possible without considerable mention of the Rothschild gang. They changed their name from Bauer to Rothschild, and from their base in 18th century Frankfurt, they have been at the heart of the manipulation of the world to this day. I document the Rothschilds at length in "And the Truth Shall Set You Free," but I will briefly summarize here because they are so important to the story. The Rothschild banking dynasty was created by Mayer Amschel Bauer. The reptilian families changed their names to hide their origins, and their use and creation of titles has been a great help in this. Bauer changed his name to Rothschild, which came from the red shield, Rothschild in German, which hung over the door of his house in Frankfurt. Red has been the color symbolizing revolution since the ancient origins of the Brotherhood, which is why the Russian revolutionaries were called the Reds. On the shield was a hexagram, a Star of David or Seal of Solomon, and this same symbol is now on the flag of Israel. People think it is a Jewish symbol because of its name and use, but this is nonsense. One was found on the floor of a 1,200-year-old Muslim mosque, which stood on the site of present-day Tel Aviv. The Jewish writer O.J. Graham, in her work, The Six-Pointed Star, says, "The six-pointed star made its way from Egyptian pagan rituals of worship to the goddess Ashtaroth and Moloch. Then it progressed through the magic arts, witchcraft, including Arab magicians, Druids, and Satanists, through the Kabbalah to Isaac Luria, a Kabbalist in the 16th century, to Mayer Amschel Bauer, who changed his name to this symbol, to Zionism, to the Knesset, parliament, of the new state of Israel, to the flag of Israel, and its medical organization, equivalent to the Red Cross."
I was thinking about how many flags actually use the red background that this information was saying was used for a revolution. I know Morocco has something like a red background, right? Which the Moorish people fly that flag. China, Russia. Just something to think about. Let's keep going.
So the very name Rothschild comes from an ancient esoteric symbol connected to Egypt as Moloch, Nimrod, the god of sacrifice. The hexagram only became used by the Jewish hierarchy as their symbol with the emergence of the Rothschilds, and it has absolutely nothing to do with King David, as the Jewish leaders well know. It is on the flag of Israel because Israel is not the land of the Jews. It is the land of the Rothschilds and those who dictate to them from even higher up the Brotherhood pyramid. They created Israel and they control it. The red shield used as the emblem of the Salvation Army was inspired by the Rothschilds, by the way. Frankfurt, the home of the Rothschild dynasty, was where paper money became popular, and the new European Central Bank is based there. This bank allows a few unelected bankers to set the interest rates for all the European Union countries using the single European currency. As Mayer Amschel Rothschild is quoted to have said, "Give me control over a nation's currency and I don't care who makes the laws." 3 Mayer Rothschild married Gutel Schnaper, then 16, and they had 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls, who were sent out to establish branches of the dynasty in London, Paris, Vienna, Berlin, and Naples. The Rothschild children were married by arrangement to noble families and to each other at cousin level to maintain the reptilian bloodline and keep the power in-house. Mayer's will specifically insisted on this, and also that Rothschild men must always head the business, and accounts must be kept strictly secret. The will excluded Rothschild daughters, their husbands and heirs, from the business and all knowledge of it. So just because your name might be Rothschild does not mean you are a Satanist or know what is going on. I am talking about those at the top of this empire, and the same applies to all the families I mention. Most members of these families will be shocked to find what has been going on around them. What we do not want is a witch hunt against everyone who carries these family names or the reptile race in general. It is those knowingly responsible we need to expose, not the innocent puppets who happen to be in the same family or have the same name.
Please take this into consideration, right? I definitely know some people that ran across some Rothschilds, and I tried to explain, just because their name is Rothschild does not mean they are Illuminati. It does not mean they are in the fix or in the know. You have to be able to discern, right? There has to be balance within your own life. If your anxiety levels, it's all going to come back to knowledge itself, party people, right? You got to be paying attention to you, especially right now. Listen, let me tell you something. Let me pull something up, because I don't know if y'all think I'm joking. I just had it up because I was watching. Give me a second. Is that it? I was just reading something. Is this it? Yep, this is it right here. Let me bring this over here real quick, because y'all might think I'm capping. And I was reading this for my own, for me. That's a little bit too much, Saladin. Easy. Easy in the money. Easy in the man. Alright? What'd that say? What'd that say? So, when I tell you guys, when I speak about 7 years, right? And when I speak about the Agenda 2030, I don't want you to think I'm out here spewing, what they call me? A conspiracy theory, right? Because it's easy if you don't know about something and then certain people start, the 2030, Agenda 2030 sounds like something a conspiracy theorist would say. It just sounds like something a conspiracy theorist would say. What I'm telling you is, it is not a conspiracy. It is an actual agenda with 3 of the strongest organizations in the world, Craig, behind it. The UN, the World Economic Forum. What's the other one? And the WHO. Those are the 3. That's all you need. And I was just reading this so I'm aware, right? But it's on the internet, so you could go get it yourself. Right? All right. That was 5. Let's keep going.
Meyer Rothschild became banker and manipulator to Prince William IX of Hesse-Hanau, Ramses-Pisa-Bush, another member of the black nobility reptilian bloodline, and they attended Freemason meetings together. According to the book Jews and Freemasons in Europe, 1723 to 1939, William's younger brother, Karl, was accepted as the head of German Freemasons, and members of the Hesse dynasty were closely involved with an elite Freemason group called the Strict Observance. This was later called the Beneficent Knights of the Holy City, and was known in Germany as the Brethren of John the Baptist, a code for Nimrod. .5. The House of Hesse were on Hitler's side in the Second World War, and Prince Philip of Hesse was a messenger between Hitler and Mussolini. 6. After they took the British throne, William and Rothschild made a fortune hiring Hesse troops to the German Hanoverians. Many of the troops who fought for Britain in the American War of Independence were William's German mercenaries. William was the grandson of the Hanoverian King of England, George II, and is therefore an ancestor of Queen Elizabeth II. By another line, he is also related to her husband, Prince Philip, Ramses-Pisa-Bush. Goodness knows how many of the reptilian Hesse bloodline are out there, because William alone is estimated to have fathered at least 70, yes, 70, children by various women. 7. How did he find the time? But this is another important point. The reptile-Aryan offspring produced through the arranged marriages are the official heirs. But literally thousands are produced unofficially outside of marriage, and these are not credited to that bloodline. However, they are carefully documented, and the Brotherhood know exactly who these people are. They want to know which are the reptile bloodlines because they know they will be easiest to plug in to the reptilians on the lower fourth dimension. This is one reason for the highly detailed genetic records kept by the Mormons, another Brotherhood operation at its top level.
Damn, they came for the Mormons? Damn. That's crazy. Mormons somewhere right now minding their business. Is it Mormons though? Yeah, that's the ones they sent out. They do the Mormons dirty. They be sending the Mormons out 2 by 2 in the most craziest neighborhoods in America. For the most part, we leave them alone. I don't really see that many people really messing with the Mormons. I just think it's a crazy task to send 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boys to the craziest cities in America offering Christ. What? Yo, you can't be sending people into poverty-stricken neighborhoods with nothing to offer but legends and myths and stories and bowls of steam. My good sir, can I offer you a tall bowl of steam? That's what you might as well have did. These boys is out here trapping, man. You better come with a Nike tech suit or something, bro. Don't nobody want to hear none of that what you talk about, bro. On God.
So when people in power appear to have no blood links with these families, the opposite may be true. A number of researchers believe Bill Clinton to be a closet Rockefeller, and he is certainly blood related to the British monarchy, every Scottish monarch, and King Robert I Turst of France. Saint Germain, now a messiah figure to many New Agers, was a friend of William of Hesse-Hanau and his brother Karl.
I mean, I wasn't about to just roll over the fact that he just said that Bill Clinton's related to the British royalty family, but would we be shocked? Would we be shocked is the real question. Right? There's no way in the world I think you just become president. You know what I'm saying, Wax? Yo, they offering nothing to these boys in the hood. These boys came rolling up on twin bikes, twin outfits, and that crazy backpack that the one strap backpack that they put over that they cross over their body. How many of them go missing every year? That's crazy. Not that I want that to become a thing. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Apparently, Karl wrote that Germain, an alchemist and magician, had been raised by the de Medici, black nobility family in Ultali. Many New Agers today talk about the Great White Brotherhood of Master Souls, including Germain, who are communicating guidance to channelers about the coming transformation. This is yet another mind control operation by the Brotherhood to misdirect and imprison the more extreme of the New Age mentality, and to stop it getting off its collective arse and the ceiling, and so making a real difference.
All right. Let's go. Give me a second. I don't know why it's out of order like that. We got 3. There we go.
Political unrest caused by Napoleon Bonaparte made William of Hesse-Hanau take flight to Denmark for a while, and during this time, Meyer Rothschild's eldest son, Nathan, another Freemason like most of them, stole 600,000 pounds, which should have been used to pay the mercenary soldiers. He took it to London to establish a Rothschild bank there. The fortune he made from this by funding Wellington's war with Napoleon and other manipulated investments formed the foundation of the dynasty. Both Wellington and Napoleon were manipulated and funded by the same people who included Napoleon's brother, Joseph Bonaparte, a Freemasonic Grand Master. The Rothschilds, even according to some of their own histories, constantly funded both sides in wars. They engineered these wars through the secret society network and their own intelligence operation, which continues today. It is called Mossad, which is officially the intelligence agency of Israel, but Israel is Rothrail, and so Mossad is Rothad. The Rothschild family symbol, the hexagram or Star of David, became the symbol of the Israeli flag. What a surprise! Anke Muhlstein, the Jewish author of Baron James, The Rise of the French Rothschilds, says the family intelligence network used Hebrew letters as a code. Hebrew was the sacred language of the Egyptian mystery schools, which is where much Brotherhood knowledge came from, along with the ancient knowledge of Asia and the Far East, which is also connected with the Khazar bloodline.
That's crazy because we just heard that last night. As we listened to the audio last night, they made a connection between the Hebrews and the ancient Egyptians. And now here we go with another author, totally different, David Icke, saying the same thing. Okay, let's keep going.
The Rothschild communications network was faster than any government system, and one of the famous examples of Rothschild double-dealing was when they spread a rumor that Wellington had lost to Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. This caused a crash on the London stock market, and the Rothschilds secretly bought up stock at knockdown prices. When the news arrived that in fact Wellington had won, the stocks rose in price again, and the Rothschilds had increased their wealth by an incredible amount. When, like the Rothschilds, you control the media, the politicians, and the stock market, making money is child's play, and so is starting wars.
Child's play, right? And I think, oh man, I know what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think because there's so many puppets, and there's not enough people that's willing to say, okay, I've made something, and now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to give back, and I'm going to teach. Why? Because you're going against the grain, and you're putting yourself at risk, right? As long as Dr. Sebi was healing and not a lot of people knew about it, you know, he was okay. But the moment he even beat the feds in court, right? He even beat them after they tried to say he didn't cure AIDS, and he said, I did cure AIDS and won. He still was left alone. But then he became too known publicly. And when they feared him, he was gotten rid of. Do remember Dr. Sebi. And that is kind of what we need in the black community. And I say the black community, not that everyone watching here is black. But I think we can all agree the black community needs a lot of work done more than any other race in America. Because of all the reasons we already know why. Right? But we don't have good financial education. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of support in turning that around, right? If anything, it seems like there's way more support in keeping us hyped up on the gravy train in ignorance, right? All of our music that we create with our young people, they are actually inspired to do the most, right? Get up there, put big old stacks of money in the air. We're spending, we're doing all this stuff. We have no idea that the ramifications are going to come back. Next thing you know, 10 years later, the people are totally broke. They're out there begging for change on the streets. They're doing all type of ungodly business out there trying to make $1. One of the things that really I like this girl Scarlett, right? I like her. And when I say I like her, I didn't like the first song, the New York joint. I like her as a person. I don't know her. But when she's not rapping, she has this innocence about her, right? And I heard her talking one day, and I felt bad for her immediately. I heard her talking on Vlad because she said, "Dad, out of all these billions they got, they can't give me 1 million? Come on, man, please." And I felt away because I was like, yo, damn, that's not how things work. That's number one. And then Vlad had to explain to her, if they gave you $1 million, what that would really mean. And she looked like totally lost in the conversation. Like, what? And I'm like, damn, they're going to eat you up. They're going to eat you up. And we older people, we know what time it is when it comes to these record labels, this, that, and the third. So my point is, it ain't for us to know now. Now that we know, they don't need us, right? We got all these stories about we used to be in the industry, this, that, and the third. But that's not what is, we don't really matter like that no more. It's the younger people. And they have no reverence for understanding and wisdom. They have no reverence for financial education. It's about getting the bag and blowing the bag. And that's exactly where they want our mind state to continue. And they throw everything in the kitchen sink at us to make sure that that's where we stay as mental slaves, right? So if you're not breaking your neck for some fashion, high-end fashion, right? I mean, think about it. $250 shoes is nothing. For most of us got a pair of at least $200 shoes. Most of us, right? And that's before. Now everything is going up. So, you know, $700 Isabel Marant's. The list goes on. We want watches. We want $100,000 watches. And we live in apartments, right? That's us. That's us. We need that. We need all that slick stuff. And without us really paying attention to history, like we heard in the beginning of this video, that they create these booms, right? It's up one day, it's down the next. So it's not about, what is Jesus going to, let me ask you that. You believing in Jesus. So what? So what you believe in Jesus? Is Jesus going to come to your child and teach them that? Is the Prophet Muhammad going to come to your child and teach them that? Is Moses going to teach your child that? Let's just say that these prophets already did their job. at this point, right? Because so many people take pride in their religion. At this point, though, it's on you. So never mind waiting for anybody to come save you, and you wait for this one to come back in a UFO and on a chariot or on a magic carpet. I don't know, man. What I know is you better start talking to those people younger than you that you say you love. That's what I know.
Every working day, the world price of gold is still set at the London offices of N.M. Rothschild, and the stock markets across the world are controlled by the Babylonian Brotherhood through banking and financial families like the Rothschilds. If there is a banking and stock market crash in the Far East, it is because it suits the reptilian agenda. Another of their cycles is to encourage people to invest in the stock market until the quoted companies are massively overvalued. The Brotherhood then crash the markets, having sold their stocks just before, and while most people lose their money, the Brotherhood buy up vast amounts of stock at bargain prices. The stock market goes up, so does the value of the newly acquired companies, and the Brotherhood wealth and control takes another leap forward. It's all manipulation to achieve the reptilian goal of total global control. Creating wars is a wonderful way to make vast fortunes and destroy the status quo. You lend money to both sides to fund the war, and then you lend them even more to rebuild their devastated countries. They get in debt, control to you, and you increase your wealth, power. Such control and power allows you to build a new society in the image of your agenda, when the war you have created and funded has destroyed the old structure. The so-called protocols of the elders of Zion were discovered in the last century and tell in incredible detail the events and methods of manipulation we have seen manifest in the 20th century. These documents were very much the creation of the Rothschilds and the reptile-Aryans, but they are not really the protocols of the elders of Zion. They are, in truth, the protocols of Sion the Sun and the Priory of Sion. So much disinformation and aggression has been hurled at the protocols and anyone who has mentioned them, including me, because the Brotherhood are desperate to discredit their contents. It is far too close to home. Hitler used the protocols in part to justify the oppression of Jews, but he was given the protocols by a Rothschild agent of Khazar, decent, called Alfred Rosenberg. I don't accept that the protocols are Jewish in the way people have come to understand that term. They are the work of the reptile-Aryans and made to appear Jewish so that we lose the plot. See? And the truth shall set you free for more details of this and the robots' rebellion for the contents of the protocols.
Hit the like button. Do subscribe if you over here being nosy. I don't get people that want to watch you and watch you quite frequently and don't hit the subscribe button. That don't make sense. Hit the subscribe button. Support the channel. There's a bunch of ways to support. It's not all monetary. You could text. You could copy the link to this show and text your friend and be like, "Yo, check your boy out." And subscribe to him. Right? So what I'm doing, let me tell you some of the things I'm doing to change my channel up so you don't really mind doing that. On this channel here, not the other channel, because I might be wilding out on Jamel Saladin, but on the Poker Face Society, I'm turning down the profanity, if not off, right? I'm trying to really turn it off. I haven't really been cursing in my shows because I want all green monetizations. That's going to help. Staying away from the things that they don't want me to talk about on YouTube, that's going to help, right? And I'm just trying to really create really good content for you guys that, listen, usually I have sources for it. But if it's my opinion, I will tell you it's my opinion. So you shouldn't have a problem sharing the show on your Facebook or to friends or whatever. Let's go.
The Rothschilds became one of the pivotal families in the Brotherhood's financial and political agenda, and they went on to direct events throughout Europe before expanding into the Americas, South Africa, and eventually the world. They had the crown heads of Europe in debt to them, and this included the black nobility reptilian dynasty, the Habsburgs, who ruled the Holy Roman Empire for 600 years. The Rothschilds also took control of the Bank of England. If there was a war, the Rothschilds were behind the scenes, creating the conflict and funding both sides. The Rothschild leaders are not Jewish. They are reptilians who have sent countless Jews to their deaths to further their sickening ambitions. They have been close associates of the House of Windsor, and they controlled people like Edward Thill, the Grand Master of English Freemasonry. Edward, Ramses-Pisa-Bush, was the son of Queen Victoria and the German Freemason, Prince Albert. The Mountbattens, formerly the German Battenbergs, are blood relatives of the Rothschilds, and Lord Louis Mountbatten arranged the marriage of Queen Elizabeth II to his grandson, Prince Philip, two equal strands of the reptilian black nobility. Mountbatten was also the mentor of Prince Charles. All these people are of the Ramses-Pisa-Bush bloodline. When victims of satanic ritual abuse tell me that the late Lord Mountbatten was among their abusers, it fits the picture completely. That's the background he came from. The Rothschilds and the Bauers, also Bauers, are steeped in Satanism, and both the Rothschilds and the Windsor Mountbattens are reptilian, Anunnaki bloodlines. The Bauers, particularly a man called Richard Bauer, were leading alchemists and esoteric magicians in Germany in the Middle Ages. Karl Marx, the Brotherhood frontman for the creation of communism, was a student of a Bruno Bauer at Berlin University. And this Bauer was the only Bible scholar on record who openly wrote that the New Testament was a synthesis of ideas between Seneca and Josephus, Piso, .10. He said that Jesus was the creation of the writer of Mark's Gospel. 11. Yet more evidence that the bloodlines of the Brotherhood have known the truth all along.
Wow. Listen, you don't have to be married to this information. It's information. You can reject what you want. You can take what you want. You understand? Maybe some of it is worth looking up. I know he just came for the necks of the Anunnaki. For the Anunnaki, called them Satan. He associated the Anunnaki with Satan worshippers, which never looks good. Let's see what else they saying.
The Rothschilds were involved in the Tugendbund League, also the Virtue League, which was formed in 1786 as a sex society.
Pay attention to this rhetoric right here. Because riddle me this, Batman. Why, when it comes to these dark conversations, there's always pedophilia, loose sex, right? Even to today. Now, me personally, if you was to ask me about that Ellen DeGeneres girl, I'm going to tell you something's wrong. Something don't seem right? But that's me personally. I'm not up here to slander anybody and get sued. But if you was to ask me my thoughts on this whole Ellen DeGeneres situation being associated with certain things, I done seen too much. She do too. That's a slick one, right? And as far as that hoodie goes, that she gave Jay-Z, I don't know why Jay-Z would even wear that hoodie. That logo on that hoodie is bananas. Right? And just when we think it's nothing, just when we was about to think it's nothing and let it go, Balenciaga got very arrogant. That was real arrogant of Balenciaga to put those bondage clothing on those children toys and those children. That was arrogant. So it's some things that we just can't look over, even though our minds are so filled to the brim with nonsense. Why? Because you are literally the first computer. You understand? Your cells are coated with something they call liquid crystals, right? You are a walking receiver and transmitter of information. So it's a constant buildup of information 24/7 coming at you one way or the other. Especially when you're not sleeping, you're wide awake. You have this phone now, oh God, right? Minimum of 3 apps a day, minimum of 2 apps for most of the world. But for most people, 3, 4, 5 apps you want. Just taking in information, taking it in, taking it in, taking it in. So that old information about Balenciaga is getting pushed back. You're going to forget about it if it's not somebody like me that is very aware of all of this information. And I say, no. I don't need that much. I don't need that much useless junk information. I'm good. Right? Oh, it's not that serious. Well, thank God somebody's going to take it that serious. And I'm one of those people that has to take it that serious. Because that's my job. That's my purpose. So that I can remind the people while I'm here on earth which way to keep going. I'm one of the arrows. Go that way. I'm not the only one. Go that way. Go that way. Just follow the arrows.
Its members and their wives and daughters would meet at the home of a woman called Henrietta Hertz and take part in sexual activity and rituals. Among them were 2 daughters of Moses Mendelssohn, a Rothschild agent behind the manipulation of the French Revolution, the Marquis de Mirabeau, the Freemason also intimately involved in the Revolution, and Frederick von Gentz, who would become a very influential Rothschild agent. 12. In 1807, there followed the Second Tugendbund League, again involving the Rothschilds. It was formed by Baron von Stein and expanded rapidly to include most leading politicians in Germany and many of the top military leaders and professors of literature and science.
So this thing has, we're talking about a whole 200 years of the new traditions of getting the people that make it to elite status to join these backroom sex clubs, do devious stuff, right? And back then they could just know your secret. Now, yes, splashing. I was just about to say that. Now, they got camera phones, man. Not only do they got camera phones, they got drugs, man. So you think you go to a party to see all the famous people that you ain't never seen, you up there with the big dogs. You don't even know this whole party was orchestrated. It's your birthday. Surprise, happy birthday. This is not a regular party. This whole thing was put together to put you in a compromising position. You just don't know it. Your bodyguard might know it. Who suggested you even get this bodyguard? Who, your manager? He told you, oh, I got a guy. Now we're going to use my guy. I'm telling you, he don't play no games. And he has a carrying license. Oh, word? Oh, yo, he's the one for you. Oh, okay. Got him. Got him. And then they get you on tape, bro. I'm telling you. If you ain't never seen, not Orange is the New Black. What's it called, Splashing? Black Mirror? If you never seen Black Mirror, at least season 1 on Netflix, at least season 1. Season 2 started off eerie for me, and I had to turn I just never watched season 2 after that. Right? It was too much for your boy. Right? They started putting too much homosexuality stuff within the television shows. That's all frequency right there. Like I said, I don't need all that information. I have to protect my consciousness. I have to protect my subconsciousness. So as soon as I see they started adding all this homosexual stuff to all these shows, you have to pay attention. It's not about inclusivity. It's about hypnotizing. And just like any computer, what do you say? Oh my, it has a virus. We need it clean. Usually when you take it clean, all they really doing is removing the stuff that you don't need. Your computer starts moving slow. Why? It's filled to the capacity with a bunch of stuff you don't need. I know because I'm an IT technician. Soon as you take that hard drive, find out where all these folders is at, take a bunch of this crap out that's not even being used. Put it back in, give it back to the person. Oh, it's working way faster now. Is it? Is it? So it's necessary for you to take a break. For you to take a break from these social media sites. And replace that information with a cosmic information. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Man cannot live by bread alone. You cannot live by the physicality alone. You are a duality. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you you're a duality. You are physical and you're spiritual being. Why you decide to only operate off the physical is because you may not have the knowledge that you need to pay attention to your spiritual side. Because it is malnutrition. It's in a deficit. But what do? They make our men feel like they could never show that type of respect publicly or anywhere else. They can never be that vulnerable to give that much attention to their spiritual side. Otherwise, they would be considered weak. That is a trick. That is a trick. Only time you say prayers is when your ops is after you. It's when the devil's on your heels. That's the only time you saying prayers? You're bugging. You should have a ritual of times you say prayer. Right? And I'm saying prayer, you could do meditation. It could be a yoga exercise. But this is the time that you block out all that other noise and your whole thought is to resonate at a higher frequency. So whether that frequency is love, whether you are looking at, if you're resonating at the God level and you're trying to tap into that, you should have a routine. You don't need to know mine, but mine's is morning when the sun rises and before I go to bed. And the before I go to bed is actually to release whatever I've taken on through the day. And the one in the morning is to actually draw in what I need to get through the day. The accumulation of both of them is to be a reminder of who I want to be through this day. I think it's awful that any religious institution would make it seem like you was supposed to be perfect after this sermon. I think that's ridiculous. Like, I just gave you a sermon. Why you ain't perfect? What? Yeah, I got, life is hard enough without you on my heels, man. You understand? I don't need your judgment. I do not need your judgment. Most of us already know what we need to do. And for those of us that are that far gone, I don't even know if these religious institutions is helping you at all. You need other things to go on in life.
William of Hesse-Kassel was a member, and the official role of this second Tugendbund League was to remove the Napoleonic occupation of Germany. 13. It was close to other Masonic groups like the Black Knights, the Knights of the Queen of Prussia, and the Concordists. These were offshoots of the ancient Teutonic Knights structure in Germany and the predecessors of the Thule Society, the Edelweiss Society, and Vril Society, which were to be the architects of the Nazi Party.
That's crazy because we learned about this the other night. We learned about the Thule Society and the Vril Society the other night and their association with the Nazi Party, the Black Dragons, the Green Dragons, and the Green Men.
It is the same face with different masks, and the Rothschilds have been behind most of them, including the Nazis. All these groups interlock if you dig deep enough. This apparently complex but ultimately simple network of banking, business, politics, media, and secret societies controls the world on behalf of the Brotherhood operational headquarters in London. The control of money and banking via the Rothschilds and others are crucial to this. One of the Brotherhood's most important coups was the creation in 1913 of the Federal Reserve, the so-called Central Bank of the United States. It is neither federal nor has any reserve. It is a cartel of private banks owned by the 20 founding families, mostly European, which today decides the interest rates for the United States and lends non-existent money, figures on a screen, to the U.S. government on which the taxpayers have to pay interest. This is what we call the American deficit. It is fresh air. The federal government of the United States does not own a single share in the Federal Reserve, and American citizens cannot purchase them.
You know, legend has it that the Anunnaki came here to mine for gold, right? And they didn't want to mine for it themselves, so they created a lesser being called the Icke. And they increased the fold sevenfold, the workload sevenfold, until the Icke themselves, for almost 200,000 years, they got tired and they said, yo, this is a bit much, my man. This is a bit much. Slave work, right? So what they do? They said, okay, fine. Make you guys managers. You guys are gods, man. You guys are gods. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they created the Homo sapien. And it appears that it never ends when it comes to this slavery, right? So whether we're locked up, I think there's extreme slavery, and then there's still less extreme slavery, right? And I think the slavery as we know it, when someone puts you in chains or they're forcing you physically to do something, that is about the most extreme we're going to see slavery. But I don't know, it's still there. You understand? Just because you're not in that physical position of slavery, we still work. We still get people. You cannot work without giving numbers, right? Identification. Those numbers have meaning. Right? So they say, okay, if you want to even have a business with employees, then you got to do business with us. So this is what we want you to do. We want you to ask every last one of them, what is their ID? If they do not give you the ID, they cannot work for you. You can't just go to people and be like, yo, I'll do the job, man. They don't want to hear that off the book, depending on what you're doing. You understand? Maybe if you're a laborer. But most professional jobs, they're not trying to hear you working off the books and all of that. That is a red flag immediately. Immediately. Red flag. They don't even care how good you are. Now you done turned them off. Nope, I'm not doing that. So I see a lot of people talk about they don't want to be a part of the system. You know what I think? No, I'm not even like, I'm not shooting at anybody, right? Because people listen to my show and they probably gonna think I'm shooting at them. I know more than one person that they running around with no debit card, right? They talking about they off the grid. Bro, you got a driver's license. You not off the grid. That's what got old girl jammed up when she was riding around with the paper plates on the vehicle and all of that. Listening to old Moorish science mystics and all that. Nah, just tell them you traveling. There ain't no laws against traveling. Yo, let me tell you something, man. If you don't have the language all down packed to the T, please stop sending people out here on these Moorish science expeditions only to get jammed up and get arrested or killed. Stop it, man. Please let them, don't even put the battery in their back. Let them know if y'all got to hold some type of class or something. Like, yo, if you ain't graduate this class so we could properly vet you before you go out here and start riding around through the city with cardboard paper plates on your car and all that. Talk about I'm sovereign. Man, I don't care about none of these YouTube videos talk about I'm sovereign. Know what you're doing. I'm not saying there's no way to become unsovereign. You have to separate. I'm not saying there's no way to separate yourself from the system. But I think you're fooling yourself You running around talking about I don't got no debit card. I don't want to be in the system. Yeah. What? You don't want to be in the system. You know we way far past that, bro. You already been arrested. Your face is all in the facial recognition system and all that. Stop it, bro. You don't live in the woods or none of that. You don't know how to. You don't even own a proper knife, hunting knife, bro. You don't own a knife. You have no survival skills. And you out here looking for the new 23s. What are you talking about? You trying to stay off out the system. You are fully plugged into the matrix, bro. Your trap phone and your regular phone is just for social, is on social media. Both of these joints. You trying to stay off the system so you don't got a debit card. Stop it, Five. Please. Oh, it's raining crazy out there.
Profits exceed $150 billion a year, and the Federal Reserve has not once in all its history published audited accounts. This income is assured because, one, the Brotherhood control the U.S. government, the Virginia Company under another name.
That's crazy right there. I'm going to bring that back. Profits of $150 billion a year, and they don't got no money to get this conversation about reparations for the black people over with. You know, I stay off of those forums. And I'm going to tell you why I stay off those forums. Because they're just there to polarize you, right? Because there's people on there that strongly believe we should not give black people money. They're just going to spend it. And it is a comment like that that makes me shift, and I say, okay, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to trigger me, right? Because they spend money on nonsense. If you was to audit the food bill for a lot of these governmental departments, the food bill is in the millions, right? My thing was this. I think it's disrespectful not to give the black people something, right? I'm not saying you got to, but if you start giving out, you got to give them at least $1 million. Yo, you don't got to give them $1 million. You don't got to give them 100,000. You don't got to give them something, right? Because that stops the conversation right there. It just stops the conversation. And why do I think you need to give them something? Because not only did their ancestors build America, stop it. That's a ridiculous conversation to have. They built America through slavery, right? And it benefited everybody else, including them now, yeah. Now, not then, now. But it just didn't benefit black people. It benefited everybody. And it was the black people who built this nation through the force of slavery. And now that we're years later, we can look back at it and we say, yeah, that was wrong. That was wrong. And we can't give you what we owe you, but we should give you something because we never gave you the 40 acres and the mule. We never gave you nothing. So to say they just going to spend it, that don't matter what they spend it on. This is me, right? I don't care what they spend it on. Give it to them. Give it to them. Don't tell them, yo, I'm going to put it in a program and then, if y'all want loans. What are you talking about, bro? If I want a loan, you can put interest on the loan. Give me the money, bro. I don't care if they go and smoke rocks with it. I don't care what they do with it. Because y'all don't refer to us when y'all out here spending this money, G5 flights for all the government agents, workers, lobster meals, black bank accounts. We don't know what y'all doing with this money. It's all thievery, right? I don't care what race you are. When you go to work, they take your money. When you go to work, they take your money. So if you gave to the Native Americans, right, because that was genocide, and you said, oh, yeah, it was genocide. It was. We should give something. It becomes a slap in the face after a while. It really does. That you can give all of these people, and then when it comes to giving to the black people, you're like, well, we just don't want to give you money because you might go smoke crack with it. What? I don't give a shit if I make confetti out of it and spitballs out of it. Give up the money. Especially since you have a surplus of the money. It doesn't matter what I do with the money because you're not going to lose. We lost more with this Ukraine-Russia war. That was almost $1 trillion. All the money is fake anyway. Give the money. It's fake. It's not even real. It's not even it doesn't even matter. You give the money and you don't never have to have that conversation again. And that is the part that pisses me off because I say this is not even about money, bro. They're not giving the money because it's a lot of money. You gave $1 trillion to Ukraine. Damn near $1 trillion. It's not about the money. It's a statement. We're not giving you nothing. That's what it's about. And that's what pisses me off. It's a statement. But it's okay because I'm not holding my breath for reparations. You understand? You give it. But you already said enough. That's how I took it. You said enough. All of this back and forth and all of that should have been put in motion and said, yo, let's give them, because nobody's going into debt more than you already put us into debt, right? George Bush gave us a black eye when he gave us the credit score of B++. What are you talking about? So the black man is coming to ruin everything? Y'all did that on your own perfectly fine. That's crazy. And you wouldn't have to worry about us going to smoke crack if your government, this government, our government, did not bring in the cocaine illegally and then put it in position for people to sell drugs to us. It should have not had been here in that capacity. Right? So I stay off of those channels because when those people start talking, it's like, what the heck are y'all talking about? Why would you have a problem with that and you don't say nothing about Walter Reed Hospital being run down? All of this money they got. And then the veteran hospital in D.C. look torn down to shreds like a dilapidated building. Ceiling falling apart and all of this. So some people are just so crystallized. It's just better if I stay off of those channels altogether. I know that.
Which continues to borrow money from the Fed. 2, they also control the privately owned Internal Revenue Service. Profits exceed $150 billion a year, and the Federal Reserve has not once in all its history published audited accounts. This income is assured because 1, the Brotherhood control the U.S. government, the Virginia Company under another name, which continues to borrow money from the Fed. 2, they also control the privately owned Internal Revenue Service, IRS, the illegal terrorist organization which collects the taxation from the people. And 3, it controls the media to ensure that people never find out about 1 and 2. The Brotherhood had long desired a privately owned central bank in America to complete their control of the economy. When the leading Freemason, George Washington, Ramses-Pisa-Bush, became the first president, he appointed a Brotherhood yes-man called Alexander Hamilton as his Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton introduced the Bank of the United States, a privately owned central bank which began to lend money to the new U.S. government, so creating control by debt from the very start. Look at what happened when the black nobility introduced the Bank of England, and the scenario is exactly the same. The Bank of the United States caused so much poverty, bankruptcy, and rebellion that it was eventually closed down, but soon after that came its replacement, the Federal Reserve. The Rothschilds' main banking operation in America in the early part of this century was Kuhn, Loeb and Company in New York, which was headed by Jacob Schiff. The Schiff family lived in the same house in Frankfurt as the Rothschilds at the time of the founder, Mayer Amschel Rothschild. In 1902, the Rothschilds sent their agents, Paul and Felix Warburg, to America to engineer the creation of the Federal Reserve. Their brother Max Warburg stayed behind to run the family banking business which had been started in Venice under their previous name, the Abraham del Banco family. When they arrived in the States, Paul Warburg married Nina Loeb of Kuhn, Loeb and Company, and Felix married Frieda Schiff, daughter of Jacob Schiff. Another wonderful example of arranged marriages to suit the demands of the bloodlines and the agenda. Both brothers became partners in Kuhn, Loeb and Company, and Paul was put on an annual salary of some $500,000 in the opening years of this century.
Damn.
That's the sort of money we are talking about when we discuss the financial power of this group. Imagine what it must be today. The Brotherhood Network ensured that the Democrat and Rosicrucian Woodrow Wilson won the presidency in 1909, and his minder was a leading Brotherhood member called Colonel Mandel House. Wilson described him as my second personality, my alter ego, and said, his thoughts and mine are one. Never has a president said a truer word. As is now well documented by researchers, the elite bankers from the Rockefeller-Morgan Rothschild Harriman and cartels met secretly at Jekyll Island in Georgia to discuss tactics and the nature of the bill they wished to be passed to establish the bank they so badly desired. Jekyll Island, it appears, was owned by the Payseurs, and every member of the group was a Payseur trustee. Their political spokesman was Senator Nelson Aldrich, the grandfather of Nelson Rockefeller, the 4 times governor of New York and vice president of the United States after Gerald Ford replaced Richard Nixon in the wake of Watergate in 1974. Aldrich's daughter Abby was married to John D. Rockefeller, Jr. When the Federal Reserve Bill was going before Congress, the bankers who had written the bill vehemently opposed it in public. The bankers were very unpopular by this time, and they wanted to give the impression that the bill was bad for them, so increasing the public support for it to be passed. This sort of manipulation goes on all the time, and no matter what anyone is saying about an event in public, we need to keep asking the question, who benefits from this happening? And who benefits from me believing what I am being told? They pushed the bill through just before Christmas 1913, when many congressmen were already at home with their families for the holiday. Now they could control American interest rates and make a fortune lending the government money that doesn't exist and charging interest on it. To complete the cycle, however, they needed to ensure an endless supply of funds for the government, and so they introduced a federal income tax bill, also in 1913. To do this, they needed an amendment, the 16th to the American Constitution, and that required the consent of at least 36 states. Only 2 states agreed, but Philander Knox, the Secretary of State, simply announced that the required majority had been achieved and the bill was introduced.
To this day, the enforced payment of federal income tax is illegal, and yet the Brotherhood's Internal Revenue Service goes on doing that in the United States every
I don't know if it's illegal, because I do believe that Wesley Snipes went to jail for this. So I don't know. They keep saying it's illegal, but I don't think I'm willing to find out if it's illegal or not, because, yeah, I'm not going to find out.
every day. Some may say that calling it a terrorist operation is too extreme, but to terrorize someone you don't have to use a gun or a bomb. You can do it by threatening to destroy their livelihood and evict them from their home to pay you tax that is illegal. Incidentally, note the year of these two events, the Federal Reserve and the Federal Income Tax, 1913. Numbers and years matter to these people because of the sun and astrological cycles, and so it would all have been time to happen in 1913. Look at the obsession the Brotherhood groups throughout history have had with the number 13. When the Rockefellers set up their Council of State Governments to control the American state legislatures, they based the organization in a building numbered 1313. For the same reason, a great deal happened in 1933 because 33 is a major esoteric number which represents a vibrational frequency. The Internal Revenue Service, which collects taxation in America, is also a private company, though the public believe it is part of their government. In 1863, the Bureau of Internal Revenue was formed to collect taxation, but in 1933, that year again, came the start of another coup on the American people. 3 members of the Prescott-Bush Circle, Helen and Clifton Barton and Hector Echeverria, formed the Internal Revenue Tax and Audit Service, registered in Delaware, America's flag of convenience state, where few questions are asked. Prescott-Bush was the father of George Bush. In 1936, this organization changed its name to the Internal Revenue Service and ran as a private company. In 1953, the original Bureau of Internal Revenue was disbanded, leaving the private Internal Revenue Service to collect all the taxes, illegal taxes, most of them too. This is controlled by the same people who own the Federal Reserve and the Virginia Company, and it is bleeding America dry. The Internal Revenue Service was, appropriately, created by American Nazis, who were funding Adolf Hitler under the coordination of Prescott-Bush, George's father. The black magicians of the Babylonian Brotherhood have weaved their web of deceit from the ancient world to the present day, but because they wear smart suits in public and save their long robes and satanic masks for their private rituals, most people find it almost impossible to comprehend the truth.
I don't think truer words were ever said when, he just spoke on the Federal Reserve. This IRS is bleeding the American people dry. It's just bleeding us dry, and we can't break away from it, right? So this is what I said when I was speaking to somebody on my show, and he didn't understand what I was trying to say. He thought I was speaking bad about Bitcoin, right? He's like, nah, man, this is why I can't be dealing with people who don't know what they talk about. Because basically what I was saying was just watch the Bitcoin. I know that they have patterns where they will push something up and they will allow it to fall, and the people that take the fall later, they're not going to lose, right? Now, here was my point, so maybe I can understand what I was saying in the first place. I understand why cryptocurrency seems like it was. I understand why it's popular. Let's start there. It's popular because it's decentralized, right? Decentralized from the banking system. But what I was trying to tell him is that was a carrot on the stick to get everyone to usher everyone into using and start normalizing cryptocurrency. The people it has to become a normal thing. We have to start to introduce it into our daily lives and our daily rituals. So it's a carrot on the stick. Oh yeah, the bank don't got nothing to do with this. It's, okay, fine. They're gonna let you rock out for a while. Did I just not show y'all that they have a 2030 agenda? My point in saying that is they have time, cuz. They got time. They not like you. Where it got to be instant gratification or nothing at all. That's not how they operate. Allegedly, something is going down in 2025. I'm not about to say what it is because my channel's not getting taken. Right? They got time today, cuz. So if it takes a while for them to implement or return the system to where as all the money starts to go back and funnel back into this central bank, because the central bank is pretty much providing money to almost every country in the world. Who gives that up because technology? Why wouldn't the central bank even know about that technology before? Like, this is not a mistake. If you believe that, it's not a mistake. You think, oh yeah, now we got one up on the central bank. This is decentralized. What? That's what you think? Man, get your money while you getting it. Get your money while you getting it, man. I'm telling you right now. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be money to be made after. But what I'm telling you right now, if y'all think that the central bank is just going to sit on the side like, dang, how did we lose that? How are we going to get back in? That's not how things go. That's not how this is going to go. Because don't nothing move or shake. Don't nothing move or shake on this planet without the central bank getting wind of it. So, yeah. I don't talk bad about crypto, or it's not that I don't understand it. I've made money off crypto. It's get your money. Get your money. But I never said Bitcoin was bad, none of that. What I was saying was, in my opinion, at some point, it will return to a centralized banking system. That was my whole point. It will return to a centralized banking system because this is only to appease the world and fool the world. I didn't say cryptocurrency was going anywhere. No, it's still going to be around. Digital money is still going to be around. Why? Because paper money is going to go away. Because we are evolving as a people. You won't even need debit cards. You won't need nothing. There's a whole system that's going to play out. You won't need nothing. You just wait and see. You be lucky if you have a job in your independence. Because if you don't, they got a place for you too. And it's not in the grave. And that is my show tonight. I appreciate y'all for rocking out with your boy. My name is Jamel Saladin, and that is my Cash App. You are not being deceived. That is my Cash App. I want to say a grand hello to my friend Valerie Rogers is in the house. You understand? I would ask where she was at, but I know she's going to say somewhere shopping for groceries. So let's just say we're glad to have Valerie Rogers in the house. Shout out my boy Splasher, helping out with the show. He's been dropping the Discord in the show all night. This is our Discord where we have all type of conversations. We got all type of information in the back. You understand? Please do join the Discord. You dig? Shout out everybody that really came through. I think I might have pinned to the top of the chat I don't know if I pinned it tonight. But if you look in this is what you do. Look in the video description, scroll down, and you're going to see the email notification list. Go ahead and click on that if you want to find out. Fill out the form, and you want to know and be notified anytime I go live with new topics. Because sometimes I just impromptu wake up like, yo, I'm about to talk about this, right? And y'all can kind of see with the type of vibe I'm on right now. This is where I'm at with this channel right now. You understand? This is where we at. So, I had a great time tonight. I'm hungry. Good thing my wife had prepared my food before she stepped out. That's okay, Val. You can watch it on the replay. Valerie says Henry Ford helped Nazi Germany design tanks and other war machines. Wow, I did not know that. I did not know that. So, thank you. I see the likes is up. Thank you. Oh, really? Valerie says she get hungry. She has hungry kids. Okay. And they get me. Now, Valerie has me thrown off. I thought I knew how old Valerie is. I have no idea right now. I have no idea. She says she got hungry kids. I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm hungry now, and I just finished a show called Suits. And oh my God, where the heck have you been at, Sonia? Sonia Smith, Ambassador Smith is in the house. Where have you been? Shout out to Sonia Smith is in the house. I haven't seen her in so long. I haven't seen Trisha in so long. I haven't seen Millie in so long. Oh yeah, that's right. Stargate. Okay. All right, I don't know what I'm gonna start tonight. I don't know if I feel like a Stargate tonight. I'm tight that this whole Suits thing. I ran through 8 seasons of Suits, and it's over now, man. It's over. I'm like, damn. I hate when the show I'm watching that's really good ends, and that was a great show. Yeah, we miss you too, Sonia. Oh my gosh. But I see you busy, and that's okay. That's okay. My prayers are with you. I'm going to try to check out Stargate tonight, splashing. See what happens. Y'all got any other suggestions before I leave? Right? Because, alright, my favorite show, I'm going to let y'all know where I'm at with it. So, I actually don't be watching all these alien shows and all that when I'm offline. My number one show comfort show is The Office, right? I love The Office, but I already watched all of the episodes. It's not any episode of The Office that I don't know. Like I said, I just did Suits. What was I watching before that? Baki. I finished all the Bakis, bro. And I got gassed up because I thought it was a new Bakis coming out, and it wasn't. So I'm done. I'm all my shows is gone, bro. I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm about to find something though. I got good news today. I just don't want to say what it is because people be hating on good news. Yo, people be really praying against you, y'all. You understand? People be really praying against you. I don't know what that. Nobody's giving no suggestions. I'm gonna find out something. I've been talking about aliens and doing all this research. I don't know if I'm in the mood for Stargate right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the mood for something comfortable. You know what I was thinking about the other day? That movie that Jay-Z had executive produced. I only watched it once. I think I'm going to watch it again tonight. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good vibes. Thank you, Cash. You know what I'm saying? I like the good vibes. The Bible say, rejoice with those who rejoice. You understand? That's why whenever somebody come and felt the need to tell me their good news, I feel the need to tell, congratulations or send them a good vibe. Because you don't have to Band of Brothers. Oh, no. I know about Band of Brothers. That's also brothers that was in the war. I don't know if I'm going to watch that tonight. I've seen that before. I've seen that posting before. That's right, Sonia. You understand? Rejoice with those who rejoice. Which is another way of saying, stay with the people that's on your frequency. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes, people be on different frequencies, y'all. Y'all gotta watch it. We all human, but people are on different frequencies. And guess what? They are very comfortable in that frequency. And the more you look at it like that, look at it as a dial. Like a literal old school radio. Right? Which most of us growing up hated AM radio, right? Hated AM radio. I didn't never want to be in the car listening to 1010 Winds. Every 10 minutes. What they say? You give us a minute, we'll give you the news or something like that. What? I don't hear nothing you got to say. Until I got older. That's when I knew I was getting older. I wanted to listen to 1010 Winds and 880. Because my frequency had changed. And I became very aware of, I used to call it white noise. Now I came up with this concept years ago, right? I'm talking about years ago. I stopped sleeping with the TV on because I said that's white noise. It's white noise. Hot Skull? Okay, I'm going to check that out. Some people get in the car, right? And the first thing they do is turn on the radio. They don't even know why they turned the radio on. They're used to white noise. Now, if you think, oh, it's not that serious, it's not that innocent either, right? Why do you need unnecessary information that you're not paying attention to, but your realm, your whole body is paying attention? Yeah, it's paying attention. So you're not, you're higher conscious, right? You really not listening. Your subconscious is paying attention to every last thing that's going on. Check it out. Check it out. So we got 30 more minutes. Yeah, because I felt the other day I kind of jerked you on 30 minutes. And then I left, and I'm reading the comments, and Eli Dot was like, yo, show ended kind of fast. I'm like, damn, they was paying attention? Definitely was paying attention. People used to the 2 hours, man. They want y'all want the 2 hours. So tonight, I gave you an extra 30 minutes. That's a fact. Check it out, TV. I was watching the clock the whole time. I got nervous at one point because I thought the audio was going to go faster and it was going to leave me with like 20 minutes of talking. I was like, yo, I ain't going to make it. But we made it through just fine. And to be honest with you, like I said, I like being around y'all vibe. You understand what I'm saying? Like, internet is crazy. I got on the internet last night on my boy Mac Mean channel and ended up in a whole conundrum with somebody over nothing. You understand? So I only went up there because Mac Mean said, yo, Saladin, come up. I go up there. He leaves me with his show. He does that a lot. He'll just bounce, and he leaves because I know how to commandeer the show. But the problem is he left me up there with some other people. I just fell back. Reckless people, reckless. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not on my frequency. They're reckless to themselves. They don't love themselves. So these are the type of people you don't really want to. I'm not in a competition to see who can destroy themselves first, right? We call that crashing out. When you don't got nothing to live for, when you feel like nobody loves you, it's so easy for you to go just crash out, bro. I got people that remind me daily they love me and that need me. Why would I just be in a rush to crash out? What? That's a fact. That's a fact. She already made that. And I made my turmeric water, which I already drunk. Turmeric water, I put lemon juice, turmeric, and guava syrup in my water. The turmeric, it attacks the inflammation, if there is some. I haven't had any, but if you're going through that, the turmeric will bring down your inflammation. Now, when things do flare up, what happens is I will put turmeric and devil's claw in it, and then the devil claws would attack it will alleviate any pain, right? This is the holistic way that we was talking about before. That they told us it's all quack business. How would holistic stuff be quack business if you designed your whole synthetic business off of the holistic business? Black pepper will enhance the effects of the turmeric. I will check it out. God bless you, Valerie Rogers. I accept those blessings. I accept that. I receive that. I receive that. I received that. And let me tell you something, people. It's not every time that the Most High allow you to go through something that he don't hear you. You cannot go to the gym with a desire to get big muscles or to lose weight, and then you don't get on none of the machines. You don't sweat. You don't do nothing. You don't got an hour to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice something a lot of times. You're going to have to go through it. I'm telling you right now. So, number one, not every door that's closed is to punish you. Sometimes the door is closed and closed for a reason to protect you. You don't see it. That's okay. If you say you trust in the Most High, I'm telling you right now, just keep on walking. Just keep on going. It don't got to make sense every time right then and there. But let me ask you something. When do he be letting you down? See, I done been through some things. And I said, I don't care what happened. He ain't never let me down yet. I ain't out in the street. If I showed you where I live, you would think I was hiding. I ain't hungry. Right? So, a lot of times when things go left too, it be our own decisions because we didn't follow the instruction. Then it's like, okay, well now you in a situation. Yeah, you're in a situation. But I'm telling you, if you trust, that's what faith is for. It's not a word just throw around loosely. Oh, faith, have faith, have faith. Listen, man, you're going to mess around and mess around. Talk about have faith. You're going to mess around and mess around because you're going to be put in a position now where you got to have faith, right? And you're not going to like it. So don't be so much in the hurry to have faith. Oh, okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Your time is coming for you to prove. Your time is going to come where you got to prove. It's going to get windy like a tornado. And you're going to have to hear that same conversation. Have faith. And just be still because I'm telling you, you ain't come this far for him to leave you now. My name is Jamel Saladin. This is the Poker Face Society. I speak healing in your life. I speak love and an abundance of love in your life, right? I want you to manifest whatever you're thinking about, right? I want you to have extra time. You could do it. I'm going to speak those things into your life. Please protect your consciousness, right? I don't care how boring it is. Sometimes I turn on things and right away it's just the most toxic, vile stuff I've ever, and it hits my spirit a certain way. Oh, got to turn you off. Got to turn you off. I don't care. I would just be bored. I'd rather go in the room and meditate and put on something. I don't care. I'm not about to listen to that filth. That's crazy. But what's going to happen is you're going to feel alienated because you are not like them. And there's more people on a different frequency than it is people on your frequency. Look how many people over here right now, right? There's more people on a different frequency than it is on your frequency. So you will feel alienated. That is okay. This is part of your journey. right? This is going to build up a dexterity within you, because there's sometimes that you cannot walk with the crowd. The crowd, a lot of them going to be walking off a cliff together, because that is what the sheep do. They just follow each other, and if they don't stop, one walk off the cliff, they all going to walk off a cliff. So if you don't build up that strength right now to feel alone and not have to feel like you have to go with the crowd, you ain't got to go with the crowd. Up. I hear them. They back. Yep. Yeah, got caught in the rain? Oh, I was worried about you. I'm about to get off this live now. Come see you. All right, y'all. My family's home. I got to go love on them. You understand? Give them kisses. Make sure they know that I'm glad they made it back. Because you know what? Here's the thing, party people. Tomorrow ain't promised. You understand? So make sure it's worth it. Whoever you arguing with right now that I ain't gonna call them. I call them tomorrow. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You ain't promised to wake up tomorrow, and neither are they. So maybe you might just want to tell them you love them today. You understand? That's how life is. I ain't gonna lie to you. Just tell them you love them. Don't pass up a good time, a chance to just tell somebody you love them for no good reason. All right? That being said, I'm up out of here. It's your boy, Jamel Saladin. I love y'all all.